Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this series. I'm calling it Play Like Magnus. And I'll just be pointing out some of the things that I've noticed in Magnus's games. And those are some of the things that you can probably apply in your games. And I'll try to point them out and try to show you just how well Magnus plays in very uncomfortable situations, in positions that nobody has ever found themselves in, and is able to maneuver, play like a beginner in the opening, but play like an advanced player in the middle game and end game. It is because of such skills that make him so unbeatable, and this is what I've noticed. So I'll be using this game, not played by Magnus, of course. It's just a game that I played, trying to acquire that skill of being comfortable with a bad opening and then recovering in the middle game and then utilizing that to your advantage so that you can dominate in the middle game and end game. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. I hope you enjoy. So quickly here, I'm going to show you a game. I played against a relatively low rated opponent, not that high. So this is like a blitz game. This is a 1900. And you notice from the get-go, like he's just playing principled moves, trying to develop his pieces, and this is not how usually you want to play your game. Like this is it's a bounce opening, but it is a little bit unconventional, right? Like how are you going to develop your knight? Bring it here, it won't have a space to go forward, right? So how do you play in this particular case? And notice immediately after my opponent brings in their bishop, like they're just playing normal development moves. I immediately develop my knight, trying to attack there, but there is not much that I'm doing here. I'm playing the unprincipled chess. Like I'm not following any particular principles. Like I'm breaking literally all the principles. So here, the knight obviously somewhat. So I bring my knight over there to defend this, but immediately I didn't do that. I dropped back this other knight. Reason being, I'm trying to keep the position as complicated as possible so that my opponent doesn't have this preconceived notion of, oh, this is something that I've seen before. I'm trying to keep it as confusing for my opponent as possible. I understand what is happening in the position, but my opponent doesn't, and that is an advantage. So notice here immediately they castled. I mean, playing naturally. They've developed a bishop, and now they should castle, right? Yeah, I develop my knight to h3 immediately. And the idea is I can go in there or I can easily drop back. The point of dropping back is now my knight has a much better square to go to, which is here. And in the case where I need to open up and sacrifice a pawn, I can easily do that. But here notice my opponent, first of all, they prevent me from going into the position immediately, which is a good move. And after I play here, now I'm trying to look for a way to develop my bishop. Here immediately, my opponent brings the knight out. And believe it or not, just a second, someone is calling me. Ah, shit. I'll have to pause the video. Just a second. And yeah, here simply I've just opened up for my bishop to be developed, and now later I can castle, and everything is looking good. I have a lot of weaknesses. This knight can easily be attacked, and it doesn't have many squares to go to. And here notice I develop my bishop, my opponent brings in the queen. All the moves that they're playing right now are just good moves. Like I haven't seen any move that they've played which is like an extreme blunder or anything like that. And here immediately I drop back my knight because I don't want to lose it. My opponent immediately attacks me in the center. And this is how you ought to play usually, because the thing is, my king is in the center. Your pieces are all developed. You can bring in your rooks later just to instigate the center, but this is exactly how you want to play. And here immediately, I just completely ignore it. I castle. Because if my opponent takes here and I take, we're just going to be exchanging queens. And once we exchange queens, that means that we're getting closer to the end game. I know I can outplay my opponent in the end game, so it is not much of a big deal. I'm not afraid of exchanging the pieces. So here my opponent wanted to make sure that they're bringing all of their pieces before they capture. And what do? I just bring in the knight, because now after they take here, I can easily just take back, and this is not an exchange anymore. And I'm also putting pressure on the bishop, and if they capture this other pawn, so this is a very good position for me. I like this. They've given me an opportunity to make sure that my pieces are well coordinated and I'm bringing them into the game. So here notice now I have to, they didn't have, there was no need for them to just bring their piece back there. So now here I'm trying to mobilize my pieces and bring them in the game. And notice here immediately, Let me sit well so that you guys are able to see my face a little bit properly. But yeah, so here notice immediately I bring my knight there. I'm not even too worried about taking. I want to make sure that I'm penetrating through the position. I'm instigating him and putting enough pressure on his game. This bishop is doing a very good job in his position. My knight wasn't doing much. So now I'm trying to remove that, capture it, and if the queen captures, I can bring my rook there to the open file, which is going to be good for me. And here immediately my opponent doesn't want that. They bring their bishop in, and here I bring my knight to attack the queen and attack the pawn. So obviously you might be thinking, well, of course the queen has to go back and defend. Natural move as well. And here immediately I push the pawn. I'm pushing the pawn so that this bishop doesn't have an attacker. Like this pawn here is weak. So I'm pushing the pawn so that I am defending indirectly, but also allowing for him to have this very strong bishop. But it won't be strong for that long, because I can easily just try to corner it and put it at b6. And here my knight can easily come in and be exchanged. I have an open rook to attack f7. And here notice he attacks my knight immediately, which is a good move. Like you want to chase away all of your opponent's pieces from your side of the board. And here maybe bring the bishop back would have also been a good idea immediately. Just chase away my knight and try to put enough pressure on my position. So which he did immediately. And after that I just drop back with my knight. So now here notice the position has changed just a little bit. My knight was here, now it is here, and my knight that was here has come back here after going to f4 and coming back. And here you notice immediately my opponent tries to enter into the position. And this is a really good move. Like if they enter into that position and they're able to have access to e3, they're going to destroy my position because it just attacks a lot of things. What do? Immediately I just bring up the queen position. And what do? Just take my rook up. This is actually a good move. Here, my opponent would play here. I push, and then they would take. And then if I was to take here, they would take the bishop, and then one of the rooks has to go. And they have a very strong pawn here. So I would be losing quite a lot. And later they also have just a drop back after they take my knight. And I would have to lose one of... actually, I'm losing my queen. Maybe not immediately. I would have to lose one of my pieces or something like that. So this is a very complicated position, and you have to go through it very carefully. And here, I just drop back my queen to the only square that serves the position. And after that, I brought the rook in. This is a mistake. It is a mistake because now it allows for me to just enter into the position and check. That's a big blunder. I'm taking the rook, and now the position has completely flipped. And everything just crumbles. After I take here, now my bishop is going to come into the position and just take everything. And I should be winning in that position. So here my opponent captures, I take, and then after that they just resigned. Look at how the position swiftly changed. Oh yeah, you can say, well, my opponent made a mistake. Opponents, they make mistakes here and there, and he utilizes the opportunities. So he gives the opponent advantage, and regardless of how they play, it's just that they're not going to play very well in the middle game. And I understand many people out there want to have this mindset of, oh, I want to have a very good opening so that I can play well in the middle game and the end game can be good for me. But usually, if you're not, especially at the high level of grandmaster and all that, it is usually pointless playing a perfect opening because your opponent is obviously going to outplay you, especially if they're higher rated than you, especially if it is a drawn position. So if you keep the position complicated, it gives you way to maneuver. I would say people that are usually below 1900, it is not that important. What you can focus on more is a little bit doing more puzzles, doing more endgame drills and all that. That is going to help you much more than studying the opening. The opening usually it is at a higher level. But even at a higher level, say 2200s, they get to go over script in on move 5, move 10. So it is not incumbent on you trying to learn the opening and memorize every move. It is about understanding what each and every mover means. What is the purpose of every move? And when you play chess like that, improvement is guaranteed. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you've reached until the end, you obviously enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, and do the wise. Just, make sure that you're keeping up with the momentum. Thank you very much, and see you later.